Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, my name is Ty with Mojo Plays, and today we're looking at the 10 worst things Sony has ever done.
This format is the perfect solution to delivering high-quality CD games, movies, music, and many other forms of digital entertainment. The 60-gigabyte PlayStation 3 for $599 US, $659 Canadian.
Sony's anti-consumerism stretches back pretty far. What do you think is the worst thing Sony has ever done? Let us know in the comments below.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
PlayStation Home.
Home is a 3D community for PlayStation 3. It's an interactive virtual space where users meet up, hang out, and explore a connected world.
2 years after the launch of the PS3, one of the strangest features Sony ever came up with was released. This was PlayStation Home, a virtual world where players would be able to get together and talk about their favorite games. You'd be able to make your own custom avatar, design an apartment, and explore virtual spaces, often themed around whatever was big and popular at the time. There would be promotional events for upcoming Sony exclusives, for example. But PlayStation Home never really took off. It was messy, broken, had long loading times, janky minigames, and was full to bursting with microtransactions. It became a platform to host digital storefronts to buy cosmetic items, and almost nothing else. Home never made it to PS4 and was shuttered in 2015. Rest in peace, it had potential. I was one of those last players.
Your life, your network, your home. Only on PlayStation 3.
Proprietary storage.
This format is the perfect solution to delivering high-quality CD games, movies, music, and many other forms of digital entertainment.
In a landscape dominated by Nintendo handhelds, the PSP managed to be wildly successful and had no shortage of classic games of its own. But it had a few issues, and one of the biggest was Sony's decision to use Universal Media Discs, or UMD, which would cause the PSP to rely on memory stick duos to save your data. The situation with the Vita was even more dire. Though the cartridges were an improvement over UMD, if you wanted to expand your Vita's memory, you could be spending hundreds of dollars on negligible data. 130 USD for 32 gigabytes of storage, for example. That is just ridiculous. And since it was proprietary, you had no choice but to buy these costly memory sticks.
With PSP and PS Vita, Sony Computer Entertainment brought console-quality gaming on the go.
Anti-piracy measures.
In addition to the Game OS, you can also run an entire Linux operating system.
At launch, the original PS3 came with a feature called Other OS, where users could install different operating systems like Linux and Ubuntu. This was part of a marketing campaign to promote the PS3 as a powerful computer rather than a games console. But Sony didn't like the idea of people being able to hack the PS3 like this, so Other OS was not so quietly removed. What followed was a class action lawsuit that dragged on for the better part of a decade, with consumers alleging that the removal of Other OS meant they lost a promised feature. In the end, Sony sent payments of $65 to all the people who fit the criteria to submit a claim. A costly blunder on their part.
So it's been fun to open up that door and get a whole new user base excited about Linux on the PlayStation.
$70 games. If you thought you might be able to use that $65 to buy a PS5 game, you've got another thing coming. Sony isn't the only company doing this, but first-party PS5 exclusives are now commanding a $70 price tag, like the Demon's Souls remake. Sony's CEO Jim Ryan claims this is completely fair because AAA games are getting more and more expensive, or so we're told, but this is a misrepresentation of how the industry actually works. Video games are enormously profitable, particularly the expensive blockbuster titles, and most of the money pumped into them is spent on marketing. $60 games haven't been losing anybody any money, and a simple cut to executive salaries or marketing budgets could increase development costs without harming gamers. Let's trademark. In 2016, Sony made headlines for attempting to trademark the term Let's Play more than once. Let's Play is a wildly popular phrase online referring to an entire genre of content, so it was concerning that Sony was attempting this. Would it mean anybody with a YouTube video titled Let's Play could get it copyright claimed by Sony? Thankfully, the US Patent Office understood these concerns. While the first time they refused Sony's trademark was to avoid confusion with a company called Let's Play with a Z, the second time it was because you can't trademark phrases that exist in the public domain. Let's Play still belongs to everybody. Killzone 2 trailer. At E3 2005, just when the PS3 itself was properly announced, a trailer showing off its technical capabilities was released. This was the absolutely gorgeous trailer for Killzone 2, which many thought was too good to be true, and in the end, they were right. When Killzone 2 actually came out, it was certainly impressive, but it didn't have the same visual fidelity of the trailer Sony showed off. It later came out that this trailer was never intended for public consumption, and Sony showed it off at E3 without telling the developers at Guerrilla Games. The infamous trailer lost Sony some goodwill, and even coined the phrase bullshot, meaning pre-release footage that lies to players about what a game will be. $599.
Only on PlayStation 3, starting at $399.
The PS1 made history when its price tag was announced as $299, beating its main competitor at the time, the Sega Saturn, by an entire $100. But lightning didn't strike twice, and in 2006, Sony was faced with a lot of backlash for announcing the PS3's launch price as $599 in the US.
The 60-gigabyte PlayStation 3 for $599 US, $659 Canadian.
Admittedly, this was the price of the most expensive 60-gigabyte model, but that's still nearly $800 in 2021. The price of the PS3 had to be reduced to compete with both the 360 and the Wii, but Sony stripped out many core features to accomplish this. It also didn't help that one executive said people will work hard to buy a PS3.
Ladies and gentlemen, a new era for Sony Computer Entertainment begins with PlayStation 3 now.
PS5 pre-orders. If you thought you'd be able to get your hands on a PS5 in the 2020 holiday season, you were severely mistaken. Reduced production led to low stock, and a disastrous pre-order system meant almost nobody could actually get their order accepted. There simply weren't enough consoles to go around. Months later, people were still struggling to find PS5s for sale anywhere at all. This meant many had to resort to buying from scalpers at hugely inflated prices, after scalpers gamed the pre-order system to seize all the stock for themselves. Backward compatibility, or the absence of.
Not only will PlayStation 3 support Blu-ray video and PlayStation 3 games, but also all of the formats that I just mentioned.
Sony has a pretty patchy record when backward compatibility is concerned. The costly PS3 may have had backward compatibility, but Sony quickly backed down from this feature where Microsoft ran with it. In the 9th generation of consoles, the PS5 supports nearly all PS4 games, but there's still no news on PS1, 2, or 3 titles. Every so often you do get a remake or remaster, but it's just not comparable with being able to play 5 generations of games on one console. Sure, we have PlayStation Now, but it's not particularly popular and is yet another subscription service that doesn't have a consistent library. Also doesn't help that even when you have the Ethernet cable plugged in, you still get lag.
Achieving this unification of functionality took years of efforts by AMD, as any roadmap advancement creates a potential divergence in logic.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few dishonorable mentions. Racist ad. Who on earth thought this Danish PSP ad was okay? PlayStation Classic, because this microconsole's library was missing many of the PS1's most iconic games. Whoppergate. Letting Burger King give away 1,000 PS5s when paying customers struggled to buy one was a bad move.
You order a 2 for $5 and have a chance to win a PS5. Buy and play game in-app for a chance to win.
The 2011 PSN breach.
But it's been offline for 6 days, an embarrassing failure for tech giant Sony.
When PSN went down in April 2011, nobody expected it was because Sony had suffered one of the biggest data breaches in history. But a days-long hack that Sony announced only after the fact led to roughly 77 million accounts full of personal, identifiable data being violated and over 3 weeks of maintenance while Sony tried to restore PSN. Many lawsuits were filed against Sony for failing to protect PSN users, and Sony was heavily penalized for its failure. The company even tried to give away free games in order to try and maintain its player base. Then, just 3 years later, Sony was breached again, this time by a group of hackers claiming it was revenge for the movie The Interview, stealing the data of thousands of Sony employees.
And Sony is looking at a huge number of lawsuits from, as you said, those 77 million PlayStation gamers that were hit.
Check out these other great clips from Mojo Plays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.